The ballroom in Manhattan glittered under crystal chandeliers filled with the most powerful names in business, media, and politics. Waiters moved silently between tables carrying trays of champagne, while a string quartet played softly in the background. At the center of it all stood Evelyn Carter, the billionaire CEO known across the United States for her sharp decisions. In unshakable confidence, tonight was supposed to be just another corporate celebration, another night of success, but everything changed the moment she stepped onto the stage and called an unexpected name. Daniel read. A murmur spread through the crowd as guests turned confused. Daniel, dressed in a simple suit that didn't quite match the elegance of the room, froze near the back. He had been working late, making sure everything was spotless before the event ended. He never imagined being noticed, let alone summoned holding his daughter Lily's hand. He slowly walked forward, every step heavier than the last. Whispers followed him, people trying to understand why. A janitor was being called to the stage. Evelyn watched him approach, her expression calm but her eyes carrying something deeper, something unfamiliar. She had spent weeks observing him quietly. She had seen how he stayed late without complaint, how he treated everyone with respect, and how every evening his little daughter waited patiently for him, always greeted with a warm smile. In a world where loyalty was bought and kindness was rare, Daniel had stood out without even trying. When he finally stood before her, the room fell silent. Cameras shifted, phones lifted. No one wanted to miss what was about to happen. Evelyn took a breath, something she rarely needed to do in moments of pressure. But this was different. I have built empires. She began, her voice steady, yet softer than usual, but I've never built something real. Daniel looked at her confused, unsure of where this was going. Lily tightened her grip on his hand, sensing the tension. Then Evelyn did the unthinkable. I want to marry you, gasps echoed across the hall. Glasses nearly slipped from hands. The music stopped entirely. Daniel's heart pounded as if the world had tilted beneath his feet. He searched her face for any sign of a joke. But there was none, only sincerity, raw, unfiltered. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. His thoughts were tangled between disbelief, fear, and something he couldn't quite name. The spotlight felt too bright, the room too quiet, and then, as if the entire world paused, all attention shifted to the small figure beside him, Lily, who stood quietly, her eyes moving between her father and the woman who had just changed everything in a single sentence. The silence in the grand ballroom felt heavier than any sound. Hundreds of eyes remained fixed on the stage, waiting for Daniel to respond. But it was Lily who slowly stepped forward, her small hand slipping gently from her father's grasp. She looked up at Evelyn Carter, not with fear, but with a quiet curiosity that seemed far beyond her years. Evelyn, a woman who had negotiated billion-dollar deals without hesitation, suddenly felt something unfamiliar: nervousness. This little girl's gaze held no admiration for wealth or power, only a simple, honest question waiting to be asked. Lily took a small breath and spoke, her voice soft yet clear enough to echo through the silent hall. My dad is my best friend, she said. He makes pancakes for dinner when we're sad, and he tells me stories even when he's tired. A few guests shifted uncomfortably, cut off guard by the innocence cutting through the luxury of the evening. He doesn't have a lot of money, Lily continued, but he always says we're rich because we have each other. Daniel felt his chest tightened, emotion rising as he listened to his daughter speak, truths he never thought anyone else would hear. Lily's eyes returned to Evelyn. If you marry him, will you still love him when he's not strong? When he's tired, when nobody's watching? The question landed deeper than any business challenge Evelyn had ever faced for the first time in years. She had no immediate answer. Her carefully built world of logic and control offered her nothing. In this moment, the room remained frozen as seconds stretched endlessly. Cameras were still raised but forgotten. No one dared to interrupt. Evelyn slowly stepped closer, her confident posture softening. She knelt slightly so she was at Lily's level, her voice no longer that of a powerful CEO, but of a woman confronting her own truth. I don't know everything about love, she admitted quietly. But I know what I've seen in your father, and I know it's real. Her eyes glistened. Surprising even herself, I would try every single day to deserve him in you. Lily studied her for a moment, as if weighing every word. Then she looked back at her father, who stood speechless, overwhelmed by the turn of events. The tension in the room slowly shifted, not into applause but into something deeper, something human for the first time that night. The decision no longer belonged to power or wealth. It belonged to trust,